and now Coach Iisalo is the new head coach, interim head coach for the Memphis Grizzlies, and he's had a couple of games under his belt. As you said, that very tough 3-game home stretch that the Grizzlies were facing coming off that road trip. First game against the Lakers, good game, good battle, gave up a lot of points. So I'm not saying, new coach, defense should have been a lot better, but that's where the glaring weakness is right now, is on that side of the ball.
It continues to be the three-point line.
Well, certainly then the next night against Boston. You knew they were going to shoot a lot, but you gave up a bunch.
It's the quality of threes.
Yeah.
I got to say, it's not all the time. It's not just the number.
Right.
Because there are some games where that number may be a low number, but what type shots were they getting? And did they just miss high-quality shots?
Right.
And I think that's been the big issue for their three-point defense, is that the shots are high-quality shots that teams are getting. So it just lends itself to putting yourself in a position for teams to make a high number. And so, the rotations defensively, they have to figure out how to get those better, because I think it all originates from point of attack defense, pick and roll defense, and then on your rotations. That's where the issues occur. And so if they can come up with whatever system, you know that I am helping here, the next person is helping there, or reinforce it. Not to say that hasn't been taught, or reinforce where that's coming from. I think that will at least give them a better job on the defensive end of giving them a chance to win games against these good teams. Against bad teams, you get away with it. It's the good teams that expose it.
So how does that work now? So you go, because there's not a lot of practice time, obviously. We know that. So let's just take a shoot around, for example. You're prepping for the other team. How do you practice that defensively with knowing it needs to be at an even greater speed at game time?
Well, I think it's, like I said before, you're not going to go through a full change. So it has to be some level of reinforcement with just some kinks and so you may spend more time doing that than worrying about what you're going to do on the offensive end. And that's where you got to maximize your time.
Right,
And so I think it is, in the terms of the helping, like, don't overhelp. I think we overhelp too much, and you give up something that, like, if you're playing against the Celtics, you almost had to be happy if they'd take two. Same way as you play against the Warriors.
Right.
There's certain teams that you want to give up the twos and say, hey, we gave up twos, we gave up some contested layups, some floaters, but we didn't give them corner threes. We didn't give them top of the key rhythm threes. So it's like in those games, then the talk is just kind of, what would you like to take away? And then, but from there, the other things have to be concepts. If somebody drives, if they drive and you got to help from one angle, then the next guy has to know he has to bump out. Then the next guy, you just have to know those rotations, because the other thing they're getting caught in is you're getting a lot of miscommunication. What you're doing on the screen, or who's the guy that's rotating. You may get two guys running, and then both guys may just run off of it. So I think it is a reinforcement of doing those things better.
How much, I think the answer is a lot, but what sort of impact are we missing with Brandon Clark being out?
Well, I think number one, you're missing a comfort, because he's another one of the guys that's been a part of this group for so many years.
Right.
You know what to expect from him. Everybody that plays with him, you know what you expect for him. He's going to set his screen, he's going to roll. Anything below the free throw line to the rim, that's his area. He's going to be able to knock those shots down. He gets timely offensive rebounds because of his bounce. And so you know that's what you get on the offensive end. But on the defensive end, now when you have guards or shifty players with the ball, now you're switching, you feel a lot more comfortable doing, because he does a good job of keeping guards in front of him. He doesn't foul a lot.
Right.
And so now you have options on the defensive end. On the boards, if there's a bigger guy that he battles his behind off, someone else may have to get the rebound. But you know you're going to get the fight. So I think just his versatility, the comfortable ability that they will have with him being out there is going to be sorely missed.
No, and Tomas was even talking about it after the game last night about, trying to find the right rotation basically to replace what he did. And he said, and we're searching for that still. And then I thought an interesting thing he said about the defense was a lot of times the guys aren't trusting each other when they're on the floor.
Well, that's why I said that's when you get the two guys running.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you late on it. Maybe you help when you didn't have to help at all. I think all of those things. It's just you want to try to buckle down on it now, because no matter what it is, whether you're in the top 6, you got to play in the play-in, you're still gonna have to have a level of defensive stops.
Yeah.
And a defensive energy going into all of those games.